Hello, good morning. This is Durwin Banks. I'm speaking to you live from the Royal Society of Medicine. I've been attending a conference about food, really the medicine of the future. I go to all these little conferences so I can learn, and if I can learn anything useful, and I do all of the time, I can pass on little tips to you so it can help you in your life as well. It's been an amazing conference, but one tip I'm going to pass on to you straight away because I think it's so important is about your thyroid. I think you'll find today there are so many more people on thyroxine, and you might ask, why is that? Why do we have to have this medication? What has changed in the last few years to mean our thyroid is missing out? I'm going to tell you what they said. A big part of keeping the thyroid gland operational is to do with iodine. So you have to have iodine coming into your body. Iodine into the thyroid is a really important part of creating new life. So this is a message really, especially for lots of young girls, people thinking about becoming pregnant, and while you're pregnant, you're building a new life. So it's really important to have all the raw materials in order to do that. And the thyroid is part of making sure that you have that. So to get back to iodine, what seems to be going on in the last maybe 10 years or more, probably even a little bit more, is this increase in problems with the thyroid and the prescription to give you thyroxine to replace it. So what's been happening? Well, it might surprise you to know that the main source for thyroid over quite a number of years was drinking milk. Milk contains a lot of iodine. It contains more in the winter than in the summer, so that's very strange, isn't it? But anyway, what's been going on, of course, is all of you young girls and people have been moving away from drinking milk and going on to soya milk and oat milk and all of those different kinds of nuts and seed milks. But there's absolutely no iodine whatsoever in those products. So you can see there's a direct link between changing things and what happens in your body. So I think it's really important to understand that and to think that the consequences of these change, although you think it might be helpful, in fact, in the long term, the results are really bad news. So my advice, and I think the advice of the people here to young girls, but women in particular, and all of us, we do need the iodine. Get back to drinking milk. Remember the old advertising slogan, drink a pint of milk a day. Probably good to follow that regime today. Of course, it's really good as well if you can have raw milk and milk from pasture-fed animals. That's the best way to drink it. And of course, in order to do that, I mean, that's another big topic, but I think we've really moved to industrial milk production, and we really need to go back to small farms and mixed farms so that you can have good quality products made from grass. So I hope this little tip has been useful to you, but it also does convey a little duty on you. So any of you that are listening, if you know any young girls in particular, you're now armed with information that can explain to them about the importance of iodine and why it's necessary to have it in your diet. So please don't have any fear about this. Go out and pass the message on, and you'll be helping us all to live a healthier life and build children with new brains. So it's not only my oils and fats, but it's other things as well. We're a huge chemical factory, and we must have the right raw materials in order to support our chemical factory to make all the chemicals it needs for our life. Okay, so that's all today here from the Royal Society of Medicine. I'm sitting in a lovely chair. Have you seen that? Isn't it great? It's a bit like a throne. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Please pass this message on, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.